Alright, I'd like to give all praises and glory goes to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai Bashem, Yakwadash, double and honors to the elders at JMS who's pushing this truth with all truth and sincerity. Shalom. And this is, I think, it's CNN News. And it says at least 1,850 protesters reported killed in Iran. As Trump says, help is on the way. And we know that Trump and the U.S. dealing with Iran, man. It can only be one thing. It's for gain, man. But reading on, anything that the U.S. deals with, any nation that the U.S. deal with is for exploitation or material or financial gain, man. It's not to better them, but it's to take from them. So reading on, it says the U.S. President Donald Trump has canceled meetings with Iran officials and told protesters help is on the way amid a brutal crackdown in Tehran. At least 1,850 protesters have been killed in more than 2 weeks of demonstration, according to the U.S.-based rights group. Trump is set to meet with a senior national security team today to discuss his options in Iran after yesterday announcing that the countries that do business with Iran will face 25% tariffs. Meanwhile, German Chancellor, he said he believes that the Iranian regime could be facing its last days and weeks. And for Trump to set tariffs on these other countries, man, just shows you how and Trump doesn't have Trump, he has say so, but he really doesn't have say so, man. Iran, who backs up Iran is Russia, and I think China, man. Trump, Trump is just going all out as he did as he did in Venezuela. Some users of the landline and mobile phones in Iran have been able to call abroad for the first time more than 4 days after the government shut down and communications, but the internet access remains cut off, man. But just the other day that Iran had a major blackout, if I can get it. Let me look. And basically what people are saying, nobody really has died. Not a lot of people has died. And people are saying that Trump just wants to get into Iran, man. And when I look up what do Iran produce, they produce a whole bunch of oil, man. And reservatives. Let's see. Iran is among the top countries globally to provide crude oil reserves. Its industry has historically been a major exploit and resource of the government revenue. Natural gas, so Iran produces natural oil and natural gases, to the second largest natural gas reserve in the world, and we know it goes all the way back to the pipelines and whatnot, man. And the second biggest thing, or the third biggest thing that Iran produces is it's rich in minerals, man, beyond oil. Reserves include zinc, the largest in the world, iron ore, copper, lead, and other metallic minerals, man. You know, estimated suggestions Iran may hold tens and trillions of dollars worth of natural resources overall, man. So Iran is a necessity gold mine, to the U.S., man. How do you think our phones and vehicles are made, and whatnot, man? But Iran is a gold mine, filled with raw materials, man, and minerals, man. You know. But just like how Trump took over Venezuela, for that oil, man, you know, he's gonna try to exploit Iran, however he seems to do it, man. However that they seem to do it. But I just wanted to bring this out because it was on CNN, that I guess Trump is gonna move on Iran, man. He's gonna try to do something, man. And this very well could have Russia and China, back up Iran, any kind of way, man. Because Trump is just bullying the earth at this point, you know. Iran death toll could be higher than reports say, but the internet blackout obscures it. And the word obscures means it's unclear, man. It's unclear. Absurd. So it's not facts, man. It's hearsay. I'm reading on, it says fears are growing that the numbers of people killed in Iran protesters is much higher than what has been publicly reported but with the country largely cut off from the internet, only portions of the deaths can be confirmed. And Trump is just using this narrative to go in and try to take out this other regime, man. And they can very well piss off while they do this. The government regime, while they do this, they could very well piss off Russia and these other countries, man. Because these other countries, man, they're not stupid, man. They understand that who this damn devil is, man, and they understand how he likes to exploit and deceive and twist things, man. So as they do this, man, they know that time is running out. We know that in game it looks to be nigh, man. It looks to be in coming up upon us. But by them doing this, one scripture that came to mind is give me a second. Yeah, it's Jeremiah chapter 49 verse 20. Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he has taken against Edom, and his purpose that he has purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely lest Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he should make their inhabitations uh, desolate with them, man. And by Trump, messing with Iran, that could very well get these superpowers involved, man. And that could very well lead to which it will sooner or later, but it could very well get these nations going, man. And I'm pretty sure Russia is tired of the U.S. um bullying people, man. You know, it's like if y'all brothers ever watched if y'all ever watched and if y'all ever watched The Boys, man, Homelander and homeboy, I forgot his name, the one that wants to kill Homelander, um that's Russia, man. And Russia is more like in the mindset of war, man. He's in the mindset of self-destruction. you know he'll take America out with them. And that's the warrior in these Russians, man. Because America is just a big bully, man. Soon as the bully gets confronted by a weapon, that's when the bully gets scared, man. But the victim of the bully, man's been bullied for so long, he's ready to go out himself, man. He's ready to pull the trigger on his damn self after he kills the bully, man. And it's just a bully and a victim world that we live in, man. Dealing with these Edomites, man. They just bullies. They just go around bullying these heathen nations and expect these heathen nations not to rise up against them, man. But those prideful times are over, man. Now these heathen nations have these even the small ones, they have guns, man. And they can shoot back at America, man. You know, and what, leave the world behind? That's the coup d'etat, man. That's the nukes hitting this place, man. And it will surely, Yahweh Bashim said this place will surely be like a desert, man. So it's gonna happen sooner or later. But I wanted to bring that out, man, because for the U.S. to mess with, to try to go back into Iran and mess with Iran, that could very well cause the superpowers to stand against America, man. So, it could very well lead to nuclear destruction. Well, it will. It could very well lead to more conflict, man. World war conflict, man. Which will eventually happen, man. As Yahweh Bashim Shai said. So I just wanted to bring that out real quick. I'd like to give all praises and glory to Yahweh Bashim Shai Bashim Yakwagwadash, double and honors to the elders at GMS who's pushing this truth with all truth and sincerity. Shalom.